He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief, and one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. My most impactful experience with failure happened in August of 2023. I had a mental breakdown, and that led me to flunking out of uni, flunking out the whole year basically. And I remember from that few months, I just remember falling into this spiral of hopelessness and isolation, and literally I just started like neglecting like most of my relationships with like friends, family, even my work, like everything. I just remember everything just crumbling down in like such a short space of time. It was one of the most defining moments of my life, and mostly because that experience shattered my identity. Because before then, it's not like I was the smartest guy in the room, but I was at least an above average student. And socially, it's not like I had a good amount of friends, I had a good amount of even experiences that I had enjoyed and had affirmed my social identity. But everything changed in those couple of months. You know, after going through an experience of failure or setback or any form of like rejection even, for me, one of the first things that I picked up on was like the way that people view you changes. That gleam that people once looked at you before, or that spark that you that people looked at you with, it changes. And I'm just thinking back even to my experience. It's almost like people start viewing you through like this lens of failure, and and I think that's just another thing that just shatters your identity, or just shatters just even how you view yourself even. Yeah, that's one of like the most difficult. That's one of the most difficult experiences, honestly. And it's extremely hard because failure stops being this like distant thing and becomes like almost a defining trait of who you are, of like the qualities that you have. And I think even like when you're around family, friends, or just social situations, that's kind of like how it starts like dominate how you operate and how you like move. I remember I just had like still even dealing with that even now, just like it's a long road to I think just having a more balanced view of yourself. So I think that was such a big challenge that I had. And I think also, if we can look at it now in another way, is just bringing in like this prism of manhood, which I wanted to focus on as well. For my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to sure. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am a man who has no strength, like one set loose among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, like those whom you remember no more. For they are cut off from your hand. You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with all your waves. Then verse 13. But I, O Lord, cry to you. In the morning my prayer comes before you. O Lord, why do you cast my soul away? Why do you hide your face from me? Afflicted and close to death from my youth up, I suffer your terrors. I am helpless. Your wrath has swept over me. Your dreadful assaults destroy me. They surround me like a flood all day long. They close in on me together. You have caused my beloved and my friend to shun me. My companions have become darkness. I wanted to start off by reading Psalm 88 because I think that this psalm perfectly illustrates this picture of suffering and loss, and it kind of just like it perfectly portrays those feelings of like despair and despair and like isolation, and those feelings that kind of come up when you go through these moments of failure. To explore the tension of failure within the prism of manhood, I think it's first important to start by looking back. And I think that for better or for worse, one of your first perceptions of what manhood is, or what being a man looks like, is rooted in success. Because when you're growing up, it's, are you good at sports? Are you good at academics? Or are you good at are you good at talking to girls? And then as you grow up, it becomes, do you have a high paying job? Do you have a car or a house? Are you in a high status position? And all of these different things are all rooted in success. Because whether verbalized or not, the social construct of manhood is rooted in success, and it leaves no room for failure or even just being average. So within this framework, your sense of worth, your identity becomes intertwined with these societal expectations of success, and that leaves no room for men to know how to deal with, or how to acknowledge, or how to even process failure. And that just leads to these destructive effects on our well-being. And because of this, men learn to suppress their emotions. They begin to instead portray this image of hypermasculinity, of strength, of hyper-independence, all while covering the facade, all while this is a facade that's covering these feelings of worthlessness, of depression, and even in some cases feelings of suicidal thoughts. And all because, where do you go with these emotions? Where do you turn to? Where are the safe places? All of these questions are just always going through your head, and it almost feels like you're boxed in. And so the question becomes, is there hope? And behold, a voice from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." In Matthew 3 verse 17, God does something really powerful. He affirms Jesus' identity in two things. Number one, in love. This is my beloved Son. This is powerful. The word beloved is powerful because it ties this love to our being, to our existence. We are loved simply because we are. It's not because of our actions or because of the circumstances that we are in. He loves us because we are. We are loved. And there's nothing that can change that. And number two, in satisfaction. With whom I am well pleased. And this is powerful because it is tied to contentment. Your being satisfies God. And that means there's nothing that can be added, and there's nothing that can be subtracted that will take away from this pure and full satisfaction in you. And this guaranteed identity is the battlefield that God fights for us each day. Because failure, setbacks, and rejection can have two effects. It can either be the waves that move us from and destroy this faith that we have in this God-given identity, or it can be used to build our faith and to build our trust in God and in the identity that He has bestowed upon us. Because failure, setbacks, rejection, they're all guaranteed. And if you're not going through it now, you're going to go through it in the future. So the question becomes, what is your identity rooted in? Because how we define that question and how we answer that question is going to determine how we approach failure, how we live in the tension of failure, and how we also triumph over failure with God's help. There's no easy way to go about it. But I do also want to encourage anyone who's watching to make room for your humanity, to make room for your feelings, to make room for that struggle that comes with failure. Because ultimately failure also comes from trying. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do, is keep on trying. And if that does come with failure, then it means you tried. And if you feel bad about it, or if you feel like you've gone through, if you feel like you've made a mistake, learn from it. There's always something that you can pick up on. There's always something that you can gain, even in failure. Before we end this video, I do want to share two verses that I feel like can help us in this season of failure. Or not season of failure, but in this season of like failure, suffering, rejection, or setbacks. I think that I could really help. And the first one is Philippians 4, verse 12 to 13. It reads, I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have more than enough. I have learned this secret, so that anywhere, at any time, I am content, whether I am full or hungry, whether I have too much or too little. I have the strength to face all conditions by the power that Christ gives me. And the second verse that I wanted to read was Jeremiah 17, verse 7 to 8. And it reads, Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water that sends out its roots by the stream, and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. Okay, those are the two verses that I just wanted to share as a form of encouragement in whatever season that you may find yourself in. I think that those two verses are just so powerful, and they're really, really encouraging. Oh man. Okay. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. If you do get to this point, I really appreciate you so much. I hope that this video has been able to be helpful. I hope that it has been able to be encouraging. If it is speaking to a position or season where you are in, I'm truly praying for each and every one of you guys. And yeah, thank you so much for everything. I'll see you guys somewhere, somehow, on one of these channels. Thank you guys. Peace.